Sleeves here with the Senior Pickleball Report, powered by TNC Network. Let's get it going. Today on our People of Pickleball episode, we speak with Carling Bassett-Seguso. She was a top-rated pro, very young, went to the academy that had Nick Balotelli and had quite the tennis career, playing in all the majors. Then life took some turns and ended up finding pickleball later in life. She's about my age, in her mid-50s, and really changed her life completely. And so stick around for that conversation. But first, if you like this content, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out all our links in the descriptions for discounts. And hey, check out our newsletter. Keep up with what's going on in the Pickleverse. All right, let's get to that interview with Carling. Welcome to the Senior Pickleball Report, Carling. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Sleeves.
So obviously, you have a pretty significant background, pretty public, obviously. People know who you are. People know some of your family members, husbands, so on and so forth. We'll get into some of that, but I always kind of start where, this kind of goofy little wiffle ball game came into people's lives. And so walk me through how, being a top tennis player in the world and then eventually taking up, pickleball.
Well, it's interesting you talk about that because like 3 years ago, I was playing tennis every day at the Delray Tennis Center with about 30 different men. And literally the pickleball was in my backyard, like not even 100 yards away. And we all just poo-pooed it and made fun of it, the wiffle, the that. And I didn't even know really what it was then. And then I got kind of really sick. It's called anxiety death, really bad depression. I'd been on medications for over 20 years. And they just kind of all went south. I had some personal trauma that came full front that happened when I was 7. And I just fell apart completely. I mean, I was like 4 different treatment centers. Anyway, long story short, I got off everything and I started microdosing with the psilocybin mushrooms. I did ketamine treatments. I did 38 treatments of transcranial magnetic stimulation, all great, but not long-term enough because the damage was it was really intense. I'm not gonna lie. So once I got better after about 4 months of that, it's like my eyes just opened up to all new things. It's like my brain was regrowing new neural brain cells. And it was amazing. And I remember my girlfriend was just walking back and I was like, God, I gotta check this out. I'm no joke. It was like an instant, God or the universe saying, this is going to be for you. I loved it. And it wasn't even just about the pickle. I hadn't even played yet. It was just the camaraderie, the community, the age differences. It was so much more relaxed. I knew it. And then, I don't get obsessive about anything. So of course, from that day forward, I started putting in 3-4 hours a day and started getting stronger, my body, my brain. I was meeting so many new people, all these opportunities were coming full forth. I was living life. And then I blew my whole leg out in the pro tournament in Delray a year ago, February, a year and a half ago. And so, I've just been back probably 3.5 months. And it's even bigger now, in my personal life than I could possibly ever imagine. I mean, I thought tennis, there was opportunities in tennis. This is the only sport that being over 50, I feel you can make a significant difference, in any arena of your life. And that's what's the most amazing thing. And I just do love to share that with people. That's really my motive. And I've met so many incredible people, I'm with the company Pro Drive. And I'm in the paddle. And the only reason I say that is I've met so many. Yes, I tell you what, it's interesting because I first tested the paddle. I didn't give it enough chance. But I loved working with Doug so much. I was depressed. Yeah. I went back to my old paddle and I was so depressed. And I called Doug up and I said, you know what, I got to give it a good 2 weeks, and fell in love with it. And just working with this company and the people behind it has just been magical. And I get up every day just loving life. And I'm playing tournaments. I'm playing this weekend. I'm off to Vegas the following weekend. I've got my kids into it. My son, Ridley, right now is at the PPA in Utah. And on top of that, it saved his life. He had severe mental issues about a couple of years back. He's lost 40 pounds. He's playing at an extremely high level, and he's living a dream too. And I mean, and I hear these stories like all the time.
Yeah.
It's not just
Right.
like, and different things, different. And that it really makes it a beautiful universal thing. And I think that it's so much bigger than just pickleball now, and you see it
Yeah.
everywhere. I mean, every country. It's not just this, this little old people sport. It is a sport. And people can make fun of it. Let me tell you, I train harder now for this than I ever did for my tennis. I mean, my whole day revolves around this because I was half crippled. When I blew up my ACL and 2 meniscus, it was like, and I have a fake hip. I'm like everything's fake, recreational and break it down. But yeah, so it's good. I'm loving it.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, obviously you touched on a bunch of things. When I first started playing in 2022, people would say that I would come across articles or people writing online in different forums and stuff and saying things like pickleball saved my life. And I thought, oh, come on. Really?
I
mean,
know, right?
But the more I get into this game and the people I meet, like yourself, and obviously, people like Doug, and we can go on and on and on. You're right. You hit on it. There is something else going on here besides just hitting a wiffle ball around. There is a community level that is unprecedented that I've ever seen in sports.
Well, that's the catch-all right there. Okay. I mean, I've never seen anything like this, and forget about pickleball, like anything, like the explosion in every country.
Anything.
I mean, like colleges. I mean, like my school, I'm trying to put a team together for, my kids' school. And it's just, it's the greatest gift that's can happen to somebody, because it's bringing back camaraderie. It's, the whole thing with COVID, it's people really suffered, dramatically. And pickleball, there's no filter. You could do whatever you want and take it wherever you want.
Yeah, it's a very creative space. It's super creative because I just got back from PickleCon in Kansas City, the first ever pickleball, giant conference. And that's where I met Doug, obviously, who's, helping run Pro Drive, and just meeting him and you can just tell the passion that just pours out of him. And then I meet other people that are doing the same thing. But they're working in the travel industry, or they're working in, some sort of retail selling T-shirts or hats. Everybody is trying to kind of find their space, but at the same point, we're all in the time period where we're all trying to help each other rise up and get to a place where we can enjoy not only hanging out with each other, but enjoy making some money and having fun doing it.
Well, and that's the key right there. What I think pickleball does is it gives you a purpose too, because there's no real constricted guidelines of formalities yet what you have to follow. And I think it's a little like the digital Bitcoin era right now. I think you're going to see a gazillion things in pickleball come up, but I think it's going to manifest into like the top 10 of the paddles, the top 10 tournaments. And then there's always like the leeway here and there, but it's great what, the PPA is doing, what the APP is doing is fantastic too. They've got the whole next gen program for the juniors. They're starting, the Fort opens in November. I can't wait for that to happen. I talked to Ken, periodically, and he's all excited about it, but they're also opening an academy, which is fantastic for the juniors. They're just going to kill it there. And they make it accessible to the amateur level and the seniors. And which is a beautiful thing, because I have never in my life, I went and played at the APP in New York at the US Open where they play the tennis.
Yeah.
Like 2,100 adults. I mean, seriously? Like, that's crazy.
I know, it's crazy. It is.
All
it's crazy.
different levels, 3-0, 3-5. Well, how great is that though? I mean, you get older and it's tougher. And, in my whole philosophy in life is motion is lotion. And once we stop moving, things start happening. And, the mind gets into places that it shouldn't go to. And then it becomes repetitive. And it just keeps the whole well-being alive.
Absolutely. Yeah, I live on a property with about 13 other adults, and we have 3 people who are in their mid 80s, and they move more than anybody on this property. And it's not necessarily like playing pickleball, but they're gardening, they're digging trenches, they're putting in irrigation, they're repairing their house, they're hauling stuff to the dump.
And it's a lesson that I've learned really quick being out here is like, boy, if you don't want to just sort of become this old crumpled person, you got to get up and move. And so I'm playing some pickleball, and I've noticed I've been a little too stationary for the years leading up to it. I was a distance runner, but that's just one motion. I haven't done any of this lateral stuff since I played,
Yeah.
beach volleyball 15 years ago. And so I've had to put a whole new regime just to keep my back from going out. And I'm experimenting there, and I'm doing calisthenics, I'm doing body weight stuff, I'm doing yoga, but it's all new things. So and it's still fun.
But you know what? How great is that? All these new things is you're doing it for you, the inner self, and you're exploring new venues. And that's what keeps the mind alive. Like, I'm a big Elon Musk fan. I just think the more out there you are, the greater it is, because you can kind of make it into reality. And that's the way that the world goes. It just keeps getting better and better, better. Or we can sit around and do nothing and just go into that negative zone and just kind of not. And that's where pickleball in general, it's such a positive arena. Like, I mean, you always have your couple of, ones that are not great, but that's only a couple. In sport, it's very, very isolating. And I have not felt any of that isolation whatsoever. In fact, I talked to Jim Iganowicz, his son James, and my son teaches the two youngest kids. I mean, we talk like 8, 10, sometimes 8 times a day, just on like tournaments and this and that. And he lives in my neighborhood, and it's like my other daughter doesn't play as much. I'm actually playing with my son-in-law, Breck, who's a professional soccer player, playing with him this weekend in 4.5 mixed. Actually, I'm at his house right now. I'm wearing his cap now. It's Breck Shea. Yeah. He's I have the really good looking dude who looks like he should be in like one of those Marvel movies. He's taken it up, and he's really good. And then I'm playing with my daughter in I'm not allowed to play 4.0s anymore at paddle tap because I hit too many people. I'm definitely a hardball. Yeah. No, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You can rip it still.
Yeah. That's the part I love the most about it. I mean, I have to do that stinking thing an hour a day and practice all that, because as I get it into the higher level, that's really the 3 shot and the 5th shot. But
for sure,
I have a tendency to get like second amnesia when that 3rd shot comes around. Yeah. I just go, right. Yeah. My husband goes, "Oh God, here she goes again." But no, but anyway, I love it because, I mean, I've taken 2 fingernails off. I threw my racket one time by mistake. It hit the pole, hit the guy in the eye, 5 stitches. I've had like broken blood vessels because I play with men, and most of these men are like former tennis players that are in their like early 40s. Right. And so they're not that pickleball level yet where there's a lot of dinking. So I get nailed all the time. Like and I love it though. Yeah, we all like to compete for the body bagging. It's great. But it's really, really exciting. I'm having a great time. Yeah. I'm going off to Vegas and playing in the 5-0, but for the young ones, not the pro level, but
how about the NPL?
A year and a half ago, I was, the NPL. Yeah, I would love to play in the NPL if I missed the draft. Yeah, I missed the draft last year. I would really love to play for the Boca Picklers just because I'm here. And, my husband's not so thrilled about this traveling yet. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. But, I have a really good junior too. So Teddy and now my Lennon, she's playing on 4 soccer teams this year, but she loves it also. So we'll see. You know what? I'm just winging it. I'm winging it. I'm good.
Yeah,
I've got 2
gold.
Yeah, I mean, I went to St. Clemente. I got 2 golds and a silver. And so, I mean, I played like 2.5 hours of singles this morning, and I'll play with my daughter this afternoon. And I love it. And I've been to the gym, did an hour in the gym already, yoga, so my whole day kind of like when the kids are in school kind of revolves around that. And then I have to work a little bit. My husband lets me play all day, so it's just great. I'm really lucky. He says, when you're in this type of like frame of mind, Carling, it makes me so happy because we really had a rough go. I'm not going to lie. For about a year and a half, it was really not good.
Yeah.
I mean, so much so I couldn't even live in the house. I couldn't touch my kids, and it was like, oh God. And it was all because of the medications. I have not been on any medication in 2 years, so it's been really good.
Wow, fantastic!
All through the psychedelic. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's brought some structure to your life, like your daily life. Which is cool.
There you go. Yeah, you know what? Exactly. It's brought structure because I was just like all over the place. And then I have 5 kids. My grandkids live right down the street. And yeah, there's nothing worse when you feel like I literally couldn't go to the grocery store and remember where I was. That's how bad it was. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Rob couldn't leave the house. I mean, I was like attached to my daughter. I shook. I couldn't swallow. I felt like you're dying. It's like the worst.
Right. Right.
And there's like nothing
So,
the matter with you other than your brain.
right. Yeah. Obviously, this sport has impacted you probably more than you anticipated. It certainly is impacted me more than I anticipated, but not quite on the level that it's what it's done for you. And some levels, it's probably saved your life in some terms.
Well, it sure did, because I haven't done the mushrooms probably in about a year and a quarter either. I haven't needed to. The only time I had to do the microdose, I've never had the big trip, but was after I had the surgery.
Dose.
Macrodose. I haven't done the macrodose because I didn't need to. I was just lightly in a state 24/7. We were doing them in the middle of the night. I was on a program with my doctor. And because I mean, the success was instantaneous. Like everybody saw it. Like my whole family was on board. I was like, mushrooms? No way. That's like, the 60s, and I'm going to be flying in the planets. It should be legal as a vitamin. I'm sorry. I mean, I have the lion's mane, and I take mushrooms every day without the psilocybin tinctures. And I'm so pro like that whole arena, even for cannabis for pain, because I can't take painkillers either. So that's the only time I microdose was after the.
I actually think pickleball has contributed a lot to some of those things becoming more mainstream, because as an aging community playing this sport, people don't want to just keep popping ibuprofens, and so they can take a CBD or whatever it happens to be, and it's sort of made it a little more mainstream as these states start to adopt, not only medical practices but recreational practices as well. I try and use cannabis for pain because I just don't want to pop ibuprofens all the time. And
well, there you go. But think about it. It's so retarded because one's natural and one's not. Okay, so we have a biotech company, and we're playing around with one of the big psychedelics and try to synthesize it, which would like stop addiction. I'm not going to get into it now, but it just makes sense. The problem is when you get the natural remedies, it's too bad we can't congregate it into, some type of synthetic form to where it can be prescribed, because that shit is so bad for you long term. Okay, for your stomach. Okay, when I was on like a lot of stuff, I had stomach issues. I had like intestinal stuff going on. I was always at the doctor from the medications, and then you finally just get to a point where you try to get off them, and they're so bloody hard. I mean, I think like alcohol, not easy to get off of compared to long term like abuse with antidepressants, uppers, downers, all arounders, and all prescribed.
Right.
And I'm not saying they're not great. I mean, they weren't good for me long term.
There are nice to have alternatives that have been around for a very, very long time. In fact, obviously, millennia, and people are finally getting reintroduced to them because we've been such, a society that is so afraid of certain things. It's quite odd. We're all about alcohol, which is, and I drink, but it's a poison on some levels compared to smoking a flower.
I know. Well, I think the society's like sheep. We're followers instead of like thinking outside of the box. And it's common sense to me, natural or not. I mean, so and to each his own, whatever is good for that individual, sure. I'm pro all for, because, life is hard. I mean, life is great, but it can be as great as you can make it. But it's all the state of where your mind is at. And I look at every situation in my life now, no matter how bad it might have been in the past, as a positive to what can be. And that to me is probably the greatest gift that I've gotten from that and pickleball. And you can't not be social with this sport. So you're not in your own head all the time. Yeah. And that's the beauty.
And all those things you went through created the person that you are today anyway, and what you're doing now. So, which is a pretty cool person.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, I have fun. I'm
Yeah, I can
sometimes,
tell. I can
my
tell.
husband puts me on the leash and is pulling me back. He's like, "Whoa," but in general, 90, I'm probably back to like 90% of the time I'm good. Before it was like only 10. So I had a
Yeah,
cage wrapped around me the whole
yeah,
time. No, I'm just kidding. Um, yeah, so
yeah,
yeah, it's all good. I'm glad you're loving it too. And I love the way you live. That's so cool that you
yeah.
live in a yacht. I sleep outside all the time, so I can totally identify with that. I think that's really
Yeah, and that's
cool.
what's changed about my life the most is I just spend more time outside because living in a yurt, you don't spend a lot of time in it during the day because it's a small space. So my life is flipped. I was a high school teacher and I was inside like 80% of my day. And now I'm outside like 80% of my day, which is and I'm in nature. I'm not in some windowless, classroom in the middle of a city. I'm up against a forest preserve, a wilderness
That's
area,
so cool.
and
That is awesome, by the way.
it's
That's
unbelievable.
great.
So it's great for your mental health, obviously, as well. So
Well, nature is everything. I love it. Animals, nature,
yeah, yeah.
but
So where do you see
it's all good.
pickleball going? We're kind of in the Wild West period. Everybody's
Oh,
trying
I
different
see it.
things.
I just think it's going to be everywhere, everywhere. I mean, I'm seeing it on
Yeah,
bed sheets. I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm not even just seeing it in pickleball. Like it's like
yeah,
all the commercials now, like healthcare, I mean,
right.
cruise lines. I mean, airplanes. I'm seeing it on the airplanes on their, like it's incredible. I mean, I don't think there's anything like this that ever has come out that has been so recreationally, like the expansion of it. It
Accessible.
can just go anywhere because it
Yeah,
can be as serious as you want or not as serious. There's no
right,
agenda.
right.
And that's what
Yeah,
people need. People need a relief from agenda and programs and structure. They need that outlet. And men are playing with women. I played with a 90-year-old. He's amazing. He was a former like top one over the 50s, 60s in tennis. And he's just turned
yeah,
90 last year and he's got the hands, great hands. And
yeah.
like, where else can you do that?
Right,
You
right.
know?
Do you still play tennis?
I'm actually playing in the 55 nationals in November for the state of Florida
Oh,
with
fun.
about 70 women. So I played tennis for the first time. I kid you not. The racket felt like it was a hammer. It was so heavy. I'm like holding, here's my paddle. I'm like holding the grip up
Yeah.
here. I have my strings like strung at like 20 pounds and I'm just doing this with the ball. Because anytime I was taking these back swings, it was like, oh my God. It was like felt like I was playing baseball. It was fun though. You
Yeah,
know what?
yeah,
I had a good time. I'm glad that my sister-in-law Karen, who's my doubles partner, senior pro partner, is
yeah,
made me do it because
yeah.
yeah, because and then I'm seeing all my like my pickleball, my tennis cronies now because they're so like, oh my God, I can't believe we lost you to that wiffle ball. I said, you didn't lose me. I'm here. I mean, you don't have to
Come
like not
here.
say
You should
hello
come
when I walk
along.
by with my paddles and everything. No, I'm telling you,
Yeah, yeah,
they're like the old school, like guys that are like 60 to 80. They are like, they really
yeah,
have a bad taste about the game.
yeah, yeah. I have a
You
neighbor,
know,
closest neighbor to me. He's 85. He plays tennis. He doesn't hate pickleball, but he has no desire to try it. He's like, listen, it took me 40 years to get good at tennis. I'm not playing a different sport at this point. I'm like, I get it.
oh,
I
totally,
go, he'd probably have
totally.
more fun because
But
there's more of us
I'm
playing
gonna
this,
start
but
playing them both. Yeah, I'm gonna start playing them both. But tennis isolates me because there's not a lot of people I can play with. I mean, there's only about a group
yeah,
of like 10 guys, and my sister-in-law are like that level that I can really train with, and that's the issue. Whereas I can get on the phone and call probably 15 people to train tomorrow because now I'm really isolating my training. Before I just go and play 3 hours with kind of like everybody, but now,
yeah,
now I have to have a plan. Now it's like I'm back, my legs are back, that I got to start training like I was like, about a year and a half, 2 years ago. So, which is exciting. And
right on.
I got a lot of
Very
like
exciting.
senior, yeah, yeah. And I've had nothing but people trying to help me
Yeah,
and just really support me, give me wild cards and things like that.
yeah.
And it's all good.
I mean,
Like
you've
my
sort of been rediscovered by another sport.
totally. And I'm going to be really honest with you. I never loved tennis. Like I was thrown into it, into a
Yeah.
military environment, and I love Nick Bollettieri. He was amazing, but I was very
Yeah.
young, and so I had to earn my spot, like being good, because I was like the
Right.
rich kid coming into it, and so I worked my ass off, which I always do with anything that I go head in on. But when I got really good, like it was just my dad got cancer. He took me away from Bollettieri, and then that's when addiction started with me. So I've kind of lived in a fog for a lot of years. I mean, thankfully, I had the discipline of,
Yeah.
like we had the tennis academy. I was up, I was on that doing, but I was never really fully enjoying what I was doing. Now I just like I get
Yeah.
up and I can't wait. Like Rob has to pull me back. Like I'll go all day. Like I mean, I'm like a battery that just. And now that my kids are into it, and I'm trying really hard to make it fun. It's very hard for me sometimes because I'm it's not that I'm hard on myself. It's just when I train
Yeah.
very intensely. And so we just have to bring somebody else in to do it. I don't even want to be part of
Yeah.
it. It's just too
Yeah.
much work.
Yeah.
I want to keep enjoying
Yeah.
it, not
What,
have to
what,
bring it home.
absolutely. So what does Rob think of it? What does he think of pickleball?
Oh, well, after a few cocktails, okay, let's just say, like, if I wasn't doing it and Teddy wasn't doing it,
Yeah.
he'd definitely not be doing it. First of all, he doesn't understand how I can go to the Delray Tennis Center and play with like everybody. He has to have
Right.
things very set. I'll go for a private game, private court,
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really have much of a choice right now because,
Yeah.
Teddy's doing it. He's taking it to the level now way more seriously than he did probably 4 months ago. I mean, we have all the paddles. Pro Drive has been
Yeah.
amazing. Anything that we need.
Yeah.
He does all the weighting. He does all the grips. He's actually
Yeah.
like coming to Vegas with me, which is a big thing for him.
Yeah.
And
Very cool.
I'm playing with Vince Van Patten. I'm playing with the guy I used to play mixed with,
Woo,
like
how
in
fun is
tennis,
that?
like a gazillion years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we have a blast, Vinny and I. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
starting
I mean,
too for me.
Agassi's heavy into it. He just got signed by Yola yesterday. So
I saw that. Doug said that to me last night. I saw that. Yeah. I thought he was with the Komodo paddle. Like I thought he did a big deal with
he
them.
was. I feel like he was part owner of that, but I think obviously, Yola comes along and, they have some deep pockets and some bigger range where they could get him kind of doing some things for them probably and get his hand in a little more, having more access, so to speak, maybe through Yola is my guess. But yeah, it's cool.
Well, it couldn't have been a better time for Eula because you know how the 3 paddle or whatever they came out with just got banned.
Yeah, the Gen 3.
So
Right,
I mean
right.
that's the best marketing play that Eula could have done. I mean they just really, kudos to them. And Andre's such a fabulous individual inside and out, and Steffi.
Yeah.
And so I love seeing. I actually texted him and asked if he wanted to play the mixed doubles with me in Vegas, but he said he couldn't. So
yeah,
I tried.
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah. And it's funny, I hit the Gen 3 paddle that Yola made. I think it's the Tyson McGuffin model. And then obviously I have the same paddle you have. Doug was kind enough to give me the Pro Drive, and I played them back-to-back games just to see the difference. And the power is about the same, actually, for me.
Oh, my God. Have you tried the encounter? Have you tried the encounter? Try the encounter. Like, I'm at my son-in-law's house. So my son-in-law plays with the drive. The encounter is off the charts. Oh, my gosh.
I think that's what I think that's what I have, actually. I have both. I have the white one, and then I have their latest. And the thing I like about it is it's super forgiving, and it's like the whole thing's a sweet spot, but you can rip the ball with it too. So it's the best combo paddle I've ever seen as far as touch and power goes, and it's beautiful looking. So.
Well, it's very sexy. Have you seen the new one with the diamonds? The Mavericks coming out, which I can't wait to try. I mean, it's the design on it is just extremely organically sexy. I love it. Very millennial style, but. The best feature I love about the encounter, on top of the drive and precision, is it's not noisy. That's what I like. I feel like I can massage the ball and even whack it without feeling like I'm in a torpedo.
Yeah, and I like the edgeless.
Yes, isn't that nice? It's sweet. There's no doubt.
It's very clean. It's very clean looking, and it's easy it's easy through the air. I love it. Yeah. It's my favorite paddle. So.
And it's weighted perfectly. It's weighted at 8.8, which I think is great. We put the weight in by the handle, so the top whips more. So that's a good feature to know, which is very smart.
Yes. So did you put like lead down the side, or how did you do the handle inside the handle?
Yeah. So we go through the handle, and then I originally now don't laugh. I used to have my paddles at 12 ounces. Okay, but coming from the tennis,
Oh my
I was
God.
like, yeah, 12. And
Yeah.
I was very hard headed about that, and now I'm down to 8. I love the 8.8 is my perfect. Is like I still feel like it's too light, but it's not, because my results are showing it's not. So I'm just, it's more of a mental, hiccup for me rather than the reality of what is really happening. So, yeah. So, and it's so much fun because I really feel like I'm really part of this company, and I'm trying to help out, bring some really big names on board and make it like a family style but we can branch off and do other things, not just tournaments and clinics and just charity stuff, and really give it a good go. It's a boutique company, obviously. But you work hard and you have good people around, and good things happen to good people. I do believe that work hard and enjoy it.
And it's a fantastic product. I mean, I'm not just hyping it. I literally played that thing for.
I'm not playing with anything. I'm not playing with a paddle I don't love. Like my husband's like, Carling, I don't give a shit. You have to love the paddle. Yeah. And I said, but I love Doug so much. Let me just, and he goes, no, you got to give it 2 weeks. So I went right to New York to play, and I'd only had the paddle 3 days. So, and, obviously, I'm playing, doubles and this and that. And that was my first big tournament, APP. And so I went back to my old paddle. And then when I came back, I just was so depressed because I told Doug, I got to go, I can't use it. And then I said, you know what, I'm giving it 2 weeks. And after like the third day of playing, I just said, this is it. So I'm really happy.
I review paddles. I have a ton of paddles. I play with a different paddle every week. And I hit 2 shots with that paddle. And I gave it to my sister. I said, you got to hit this, because she gets all the paddles that I get. I just give them to her. She plays with them. Yeah. She's like, oh my God. And I go, you got to meet Doug.
Oh my God.
And she walked up to Doug and she said, holy crap. And he gave her one because we both play a ton of paddles and we've never hit anything like it. And I was like, she goes, this is the paddle that I've been looking for. It's got super touch and I got a ton of power. And I'm like, I know. And it's beautiful.
And not only that, I mean, Henrik and Therese behind it, I haven't met them yet, and I will probably quite soon, but apparently he's a master innovator with that and with the technology. And I love that, how they have the Kevlar. So there are no dead spots. Like, I mean, literally, and they haven't had one recall. That's amazing too. They haven't had one recall on one of their paddles yet, which is unheard of. And
unheard of.
Yeah, because the paddle company I was with before, I was constantly having to rotate them. And it's a great paddle, but it was just a little too wishy-washy. And it's interesting because Doug was like, you got to put this one in your hand. And I'd never heard of Pro Drive. I mean, I kind of hadn't heard of a lot of companies yet, but I kind of went with the big boys first.
Right.
And so it's so nice to be, my dad was a big entrepreneurial, like just don't, buy a football team. My dad would start the whole league, a new league. So it's kind of fun to be part of the, the growth also.
Yeah.
And just, it's exciting. You're just not just one person of like 20 using it and have no say. And, the company's, got a board of directors and the whole thing and stuff like that. So, the pieces in the puzzle are fitting in nicely so far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's great to meet you and talk with you. I'd love to talk with you maybe 6 months to a year from now and see what things have happened with you and where you are. Sure. Because it's been really fun just to meet you over the last few days, via text and a couple of calls here. And I'm excited to see what you can do, because I can tell you're beaming right now. So.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know how active you were in it either. So it's good. So now we kind of, we created this relationship, and most definitely I will, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully cross paths sooner than later and meet in person. So that'd be nice.
Yeah. Lovely. Definitely.
Well, thank you for your time, Carleen, and I will put everything in the description for if you want to find out a little bit more about her and ProDrive for sure. And thanks again for your time.
Oh, well, thank you, Sleeves. This is great.
Hope you enjoyed our interview with Carling. All the links in the description. You want to find out a little bit about her and, of course, ProDrive, great paddle. I'll be reviewing shortly their latest. So check those things out. And at the end of the day, folks, hey, let's pickle.